All right, and lastly here for our Giallo triple feature, we've got the Bloodstained Shadow. I just keep showing the same box. This one is very Giallo in the sense that it just starts with murder, and it's like playing this murder is happening while the credits are rolling.
Yeah.
Which is it's great.
Yeah.
It's just like this is what we do. This is that kind of movie. You know what you're buckling in for. So that's great.
Yeah.
Once again, these are movies that we watched days ago, so bear with us. So yeah, we get this scene where this guy's like up in a window and he's watching this girl like murdered out in the streets, right? And he's like watching from afar. Spoilers for the movie. It ends up being the killer that's watching this murder take place.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the answer.
Yeah.
But he at this point isn't. And he like watches and watches and watches and watches and just never does anything about it. And
Yeah.
the girl's dead before he even tries to do anything about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was
And we're
so
just
funny.
kind of like, are you going to do anything? Or are you just going to
doesn't
sit
do
there? He
anything.
keeps going like,
So you can clearly see.
yeah.
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 It's pretty lazy of him.
This one definitely, when it ended and it had like the reveal that the priest brother, and here's a priest again.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that.
Brother is actually the killer and, is blamed it and whatever. I was just kind of like, what?
Yes.
Another
Yeah.
huh? What? And then I went back and I thought about it more and I was like, okay, I think I get it. So we'll talk about it more. But Jesus, man, these movies, these convoluted endings.
So convoluted. Yeah.
Ugh.
It came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. So one of the funnier scenes, even though this obviously subject matter is not funny at all, but it's funny in how it's approached here. There's a woman who, instead of going to the police, she goes to a priest and says, there's this guy who's tried to molest my kid 4 times. Why has your kid went back to his place?
I know.
After the first time.
100%. 100%. And he's a total creep, too.
Yes.
But then the priest, like, when he goes to confront him,
yeah,
and he just, like, kind of doesn't have, like, a backbone about it. He's just like, it needs to stop. And then the guy's like,
get out.
Leave. Like, how dare you? And I'm just like, what? Like, you hear somebody's molesting kids, and you don't go to the police? But he's like, I'm the stand-in for God. And I'm like, okay, sick. So God's, like, not going to do anything then, I guess. It was so lame.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not sending a
sheriff.
Police officer over there. I got nothing on that. We were for sure positive, and this was actually a good kind of red herring. We thought for sure the main character.
Yes, was
main
the killer.
Character.
Yeah.
Guy who's in this for like
that comes
15 minutes altogether. He's so absent from this film. And a lot of the scenes in this movie are really, really drawn out.
Yes.
Like when people are being stalked by the killer and we kind of hang out with them before they're eventually killed or not. Those go on for so long. That's like the majority of the film is those scenes. Or there's even like a 5-minute scene of this girl like just traveling.
I know.
She just like gets on a boat and she's like going in a car and she's on, and there's music and it's all stylistic and very vibey and it was cool. Like it felt like a fun aesthetics kind of montage.
Yes, yeah.
But there's a lot of that like kind of drawn out scenes here to almost just kind of fill up the runtime. But I still liked it. Yet another one where it's like, I don't understand, but I'm at least enjoying the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Maybe that will eventually not be as appealing to me because it's like I've seen so many of these now, I just don't care anymore.
We'll see.
Yeah.
The opening too, when the priest picks his brother up off of the ferry and he takes him to like a local like pub bar thing, reminded me so much of like basically almost every opening of the
Hammer
Hammer
movies.
films that we've watched.
Yeah.
Where they're like in a pub somewhere and like all the locals are around them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool too. I like that setting, and it's especially funny because he's like sitting there shit talking like the doctor in town who like is sitting right behind him and is just like, and then he stands up and he's like, I'm gonna leave, like it's too crowded here for me or whatever.
Yeah.
That was funny. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. Once again, for multiple times now throughout these movies, we have a guy who is putting a woman's life in danger as she begs him to stop, screaming and pleading. It's dangerous, please. This guy's, in this one, he's driving a boat like a maniac. She's literally like pleading for her life. She's so scared. And then that eventually morphs into her being like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Thank you. And then eventually leading them to sleep together.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
What is
Once
this?
again.
What is this male fantasy?
I know.
Of like, women are so like weak, and us men are here to show them a good time by pushing them past their reservations, and it's so wild in all these movies to continue to keep getting these like forced antics of putting people in harm's way, and then them being like, oh my God, thank you so much for completely betraying my trust and going past my wishes and forcing me into risking my life for your entertainment.
Yeah, it's
please have sex with me.
It's lame, to say the least. We've gone on a few tangents about these in some of the other Giallo films, but like it's so weird that it's like a common occurrence. And that's mostly from looking at it, I guess, through like a modern lens, but
no.
Yeah.
This is awful.
It sucks no matter what time you're in, though. Like, what?
One really funny moment in this for me is that we get a stinger, and it's just like I always forget which way this goes. A diegetic stinger, where the music is on the outside. I forget which one's which. Non-diegetic, I think, is the music that's in the film, and the diegetic is the music that's outside the film that only we hear, or is it the other way? I might be saying that backwards, but whatever it is, so usually the music is on the outside and only we can hear it.
Yeah.
Right? But this time the person runs into somebody who's holding an accordion.
Yes.
And they're like, "Burr!" Like right as they come around the corner, and then they laugh about it. That actually got me
That
pretty
was
good.
cool. I really liked that. Especially because it's an accordion of all things.
Yeah. That was pretty
funny. That was funny. Very slapsticky.
Yes. And one of the more gruesome deaths, and one of the more like brutal deaths that we've seen in one of these, is a handicapped old woman in a wheelchair being pushed face first into a fire, and then having her head held in the fire as she is burning to death. So
horrible. What the heck? That's so evil.
It's so brutal.
Yes. Super brutal.
Also, some of the music in this, one like song or beat in particular, reminded me, as I had pointed out while we were watching this, to some of the Jaws music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah. And the doctor scene, when he like is trying to get away from the killer and he gets pushed into the canal, because this is once again in Venice. This is one of the dumbest scenes I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Like a doctor, by the way, gets pushed into the water and then swims back to the killer.
I know.
It's a small channel.
I know.
Canal that you can swim right across to the other side.
And he swims to the same side.
Instead, he swims up to the killer, who then pushes him back in the water. Then a boat passes by, which he grabs onto.
And then he doesn't
yell out for help.
Nothing.
He doesn't try to get their attention. He just keeps holding on. Enough time for the killer to go grab another boat.
Yes.
And run him down on the side of the boat. So dumb.
So dumb. I do not understand why he didn't yell, like, help me.
It's like always with these movies, pure suspension of disbelief. You just gotta you got to vibe with it. That's always what it is. It's
so
just,
crazy, though.
You've got to just accept this is what these people would do.
Imagine being chased by a killer, falling into a body of water, grabbing onto somebody's boat, and not being like, help me. Well, I don't understand why he doesn't say it.
I don't understand how the people who were in the boat didn't see him at all.
I know.
Him, like, on the side with a killer standing over him, like, not allowing him to get back on the water. I none of that makes any sense.
No.
None. Zero whatsoever. And no one's going to convince me otherwise. And I don't really honestly know what purpose our main character serves in this film outside of being like a red herring and having, you know, ties to the brother and being like, I remember when I was a kid, you killed someone.
Right.
Whatever. Like, outside of that, he's kind of a useless character.
Yeah, he is. He totally is. I don't know. I think he is, like, meant to be the red herring primarily, so that would be my guess as to what his goal or his purpose is.
Yeah.
So.
Once again, heavy exposition from the killer explaining absolutely everything. But at least with this one, it does kind of make sense because the priest does want to get it off his chest. Now, I do really like that he has some kind of fantasy vision where he is kind of giving, like, communion to all of the people he kills and seeing them in that moment and kind of realizing what he is, which ultimately leads to him jumping to his death once he realizes what a monster he is. So I did like that a lot. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he catches the medium killing him, and then she's gonna blackmail him, so he starts killing everybody and just goes through and X's out anybody he thinks is like worthy of death. All the explanations and everything, they made sense enough.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
This one actually, I had said that they were all like super confusing, like the first film that we watched, but this one I think is probably the least confusing.
It's because you get a really proper explanation at the end, and everything pretty much makes sense, but it's still convoluted.
Yeah,
but
I definitely didn't think it was going to be him.
It's not impossible to follow. It's just convoluted.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's overly complicated. But that's fine. These are always that. That's to be expected.
Yeah.
But this one actually, you know, mostly made sense in the end, and I didn't really leave with it going, oh, another one that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, this one was like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the point of the main character is.
Yeah.
And stop pushing dangerous activities on women and expecting them to sleep with you.
Yeah.
Because they will in these movies.
Yeah, apparently
and it's
they
not
will.
Okay.
No, it's not.
So there you go. 3 more Giallos down.
Yeah.
And we'll continue later on. Definitely let us know. We've gotten a lot of recommendations.
Yay.
So you can recommend more. But let me tell you, the list is like 50 long at the moment from people in the comments. So, you know, that's going to take some time, to say the least.
We're working through it.
And we got lots of other films to discuss and cover. So we're getting to it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the comments. Adios.
Bye.